We're on.
Oldest family, as always, thankful for this opportunity as we continue to go forward, bringing greater clarity to ourselves. We can share these things with those of like mind. Today, I want to kind of give a lead in to what we have witnessed, and everyone on this line can testify as to the city that they live in, this confirmation of a reference that I'm going to read out of the book of Isaiah, the 26th chapter. And it's relative to a point that I want to share further with you, Eitai, after the call.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You and Mark L.
Got it.
But this is the lead in to a term that when you look in the scriptures, you're going to find a word. And this particular word that you're going to find, it has been translated in the English different. And the word in the Hebrew is a little different in meaning. And this is why it's so important for us to use this particular reference as we journey into this greater understanding. Now, the word that you're going to find in the Hebrew is 8377. Now, when you look this word up, you're going to look it up from the word bull, Bull, but it's translated antelope in the scriptures.
Yes, yes.
Now, I'll just hold right there and I'll go right on into this. And I think everybody can testify what I'm finna read. And I'm going to read the caption in the Schofield Reference Bible. It reads, "In the day of God's wrath, some are sheltered and others are raised from the dead." Now, Eitai been talking to us about the significance of sending out of the simulated reality into the organic. And this is the true resurrection.
Yes.
What I'm talking about. This is the true resurrection. But this is very profound, and as Eitai, we'll talk about it later. It goes into, the New Testament, but it starts in the Old Testament. And it was like, I remember I must have been about 16 or 17 years old when I saw the movie. It was called Prize for Seven. I don't know if anybody ever saw it.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes,
I remember that,
yes.
now, see. Yes.
Okay, well, it's very, I never knew at that time, what this all meant, but now it didn't come full circle. And now we have a greater understanding. We can break this down now. So, continuing on, it says, verse 16, "Lord, in trouble have they visited thee. They poured out a prayer when the chastising was upon them." Verse 17, "As a woman with child who draws near the time of her delivery is in pain and cries out in her pain, so have we been in thy sight, O Lord." 18, "We have been with child, we have been in pain, we have as it were brought forth wind, we have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen." Key point.
Yes.
They've been, various instances of time where it appeared that it was time for deliverance. But he said, but we was never able to be delivered because of it was like a false delivery,
Right.
And it goes on to say 19, Thy dead men should live together with my dead body, shall arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust, for the dew is like the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. Come to, come, my people, enter into thy chambers, and shut thy door about thee. Hide thyself as if it were for a little moment,
Wow.
until the indignation is past. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth, for the iniquity of the earth shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover the altar. How many there?
Okay. Go ahead.
So here we are looking at a condition where deliverance has been promised, but there have not been anyone to deliver. And as a result of this lack of deliverance, and then we begin to now understand that, really the deliverance, every man gonna have to deliver himself.
That's correct.
Out of the predicament, because the major predicament that man finds himself in is in what I've termed a inductive dualistic way of thinking. And I'll say again, inductive dualistic way of thinking. This is so significant because this was the worldview that Descartes, Bacon, and all of them had in terms of creating the simulated reality.
That's correct.
The simulated reality is all connected to this rationalistic, dualistic way of thinking. And once you get marred in it, if you're going to be delivered, you're going to have to deliver yourself out of the dualistic way of thinking and doing things that everybody is trapped in.
Yes.
This ain't no easy matter now. This is not an easy matter to change your way of viewing things. Because here we find ourselves every day online trying to explain using the English language to try to explain how we got into the predicament and how we're going to get out of it using dualistic language.
Right.
Yes.
And thought, Nasi.
No small matter here. This is like what you call the loop theory. You know what I'm saying? Every time you know what I'm saying, look like you getting out, you put yourself right back in again.
Yes.
So this is very, very significant here. And there's another reference, and it didn't eluded me right now, but what it goes on to say, and it's in Isaiah, where the people lie in the streets of the cities like an antelope or like a bull, it said.
Yes.
And the indignation of the Creator is in the brothers and sisters, but in all of the cities. I don't care what city you go, you're gonna see what line up from morning to night, standing at the ends of the street talking. They can't get out of those predicaments.
Right.
I'm gonna find that reference and I'll make sure we dovetail that in before we get offline, okay?
Right.
Okay.
But I just wanted to lay that out, in respect to what we are looking at today in terms of how we gonna get out of the simulated reality. So with that, Holiness.
All right. Toda Nasi. And when you had jumped offline there, I was just laughing because we batting 1,000 with these lead-ins and introductions. I want to point out something that a portion of scripture that is going to be um, key and essential to what I want to lay before the family today and put on view. Verses 18 through 21 of Isaiah 26, and we're going to jump to Isaiah 24 as well, because what we're going to do is to get into the details of what has become known as the Hopi Indian prophecy, which actually is the story or the narrative of the blue and red Kachina. The blue and red Kachina. We're going to get into detail because this puts a cherry on top of the prophetic framework that we have established in these many weeks. And it's going to bring this thing dramatically into focus in the now, KNOW, in the now. All right. So verses 18 through 21 reads like this. Isaiah 26. We have been with child, we have been in pain. We have as it were brought forth wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. Key point here, key phrase, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. The word inhabitants is the word yashav, All right. The reference is Strong's H 3427. Yashab or Yashav, a primitive root, which means dwellers and which has the implication of someone sitting down or being set in place. Now, yesterday we were talking about the black nobility, the original. We made the distinction between the original black nobility and those that are now what? Set up or
Right.
sitting in the seat
Seats.
of the
Yes.
original black nobility.
Yes.
You all with me?
Absolutely.
So they are remaining, they have been set up, they are remaining there in that seat and in that position. And family, it is up to us to unseat them or dethrone them. Are you all with me? So
Yes.
this is along the same lines of what Nasik was talking about. But as we say always, we have to focus on the throne that is internal in all of us, that is inside all of us.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
that if that program that was established, the mind is still enthroned. Remember, we talked about the tyranny of the mind yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You all with me? We talked about
Okay.
tyranny of the mind and the tyranny of I know, quote unquote. What we must understand is that we are on a journey for knowledge. That it is, like we said yesterday, that it is infinite, it is eternal.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you know, the more there is to know.
Yes.
Consciousness is
Yep.
infinite.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we have to be, and this is going to lead us, and we have to be in a constant attitude of change,
Mm-hmm.
constant attitude of transition and change. We never get to a point, family, where we yashav, sit down
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
remain.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because we get stuck, we get stagnant. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody see what I'm talking about. These inhabitants, these individuals that have sat down in our place, that are enthroned in the position of what? Nobility, royalty.
Yes.
These individuals haven't fallen yet.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 19, thy dead man shall live. Together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in the dust. For thy dew is the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. Come, my people. Now listen, I want you all to write this down. Enter into thy chambers
Mm-hmm.
and shut the doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. Now we're going to come back at a later date and decode this scripture, but it's pretty obvious on the surface what it is that it's talking about. But we're going to put even a finer point on it because I'm going to connect, this connects up directly and parallels to certain details of the Hopi prophecy. Hide thyself, as it were, a little moment until the indignation be overpassed, rather. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish these inhabitants, Yashav,
Mm-hmm.
of the earth for their iniquity. This is a reoccurring theme. The earth shall disclose
Mm-hmm.
her blood and shall no more cover the slain. All right? We're going to
Mm-hmm.
jump back here to Isaiah 24, starting at the first verse and ending at the sixth verse. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. Listen, and it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with the master, as with the maid, so with her mistress. So this hierarchical structure, maid, mistress, have not, this is going to be overturned.
Yes.
Now getting to
Yep.
capitalism, as with the buyer,
Yep.
so with the seller, as with the
Mm-hmm.
lender, so with the borrower, as with the
Mm-hmm.
taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly empty, utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken his word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. Look, I just read about the fact that the eastern puma, they announced that it was
Mm.
extinct today. I saw that today.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Really?
there are other,
Wow.
and we've seen the ending due to destruction
Mm-hmm.
of many things, over
Mm-hmm.
our lifetime. The earth mourneth and fadeth
Mm-hmm.
away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. So when we're talking about the haughty people, this is this false nobility, this
Mm-hmm.
rich, this wealthy 1%.
Mm-hmm.
The earth is also defiled under, and here's this word yashav again, the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore, again, this word inhabitants of the earth are what? Burned. Burned.
Mm-hmm.
Water the first time, family. Fire next
Yes.
time. And few
Mm-hmm.
men left. And few men left. So we're going to put this right in perspective. And bear with me.
I found the scripture.
Okay. Go ahead, Nasi.
This particular scripture is in Isaiah 51.
Ah,
Isaiah 51.
that's funny.
And
I know
starting at
where
the
you're going.
17th
Hold on.
verse.
Yes, I know where you're going, Nasi. 1 second.
Yeah.
Go
This is
ahead.
right in harmony with what you just, this is right in harmony with what you just read.
Yes.
Yeah. 51:17,
Right.
it reads, Zion's failure forgiven. So now, he just read where the no false nobility had sat down and established herself as the preeminent,
That's
rulers and authority,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that of the creator. But
Mm-hmm.
now it says here Zion's failure forgiven. Whatever error in the process that we emanated to do, that failure because it didn't manifest the physical perfection, that wholeness,
right.
it's forgiven because now we're in the process of what? Doing exactly what has to be done to what? Make things what? Whole again.
That's
So it
right.
reads,
Mm-hmm.
it says, awake,
Mm-hmm.
awake, stand up, O Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
which has drunk at the hands of the Lord the cup of his fury.
Mm.
Thou hast drunk the dregs of the cup of
Mm.
trembling and wrung them out. There's none to guide her among the sons whom she has brought forth. Neither
Mm.
is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that been brought up.
Mm.
She has brought up. 19. These two things are come unto thee. Who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction, and the famine, and the sword, by whom shall I comfort thee? 20. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the
Mm.
heads of all the streets, like an
Wow.
antelope or a bull in a net. They are
Wow.
full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of their God. 21. Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. And so here we see now, it says that they're drunk, but not with wine.
That's right.
What then
Mm-hmm.
happened is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
now, because we came under the influence of the simulated reality of dualism,
Yes.
Yes.
we are like what a drunk man, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
Don't know
He
up
Right.
and
goes on
down.
to say, he goes on to say, verse 21, Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus saith the Lord, and thou God, who pleadest the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. 23. But I will put into the hand of those who afflicted thee, who have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body like the ground, and like the street go to those who went over. They use us.
That's right.
As a bridge. This is
That's
the bridge.
Right. Yes. Yes.
They use us as a bridge to what? Use us to what? Make it appear that they were the what? Primary, you know what I'm saying, people of the Most High.
That's
and that in going, no one would see, no one would ever know. And now it's come full circle.
Yes.
That a consciousness of the Creator has activated within His people as to who they are. Never been a time like this in the history that we lived in.
That's correct.
Whereas many black women who are knowledgeable of what has occurred and are now what? The cup of trembling been removed now. They standing up, they speaking out, and they're doing everything necessary to transition out of this simulated reality.
Yes, absolutely.
So I just wanted to tie that in, Eitai.
Well, you know, we're in perfect lockstep again, I see. Because this is exactly the direction that we want to go and we need to go. The reason, family, that these synchronicities are being elevated is because we have moved beyond language, and specifically moved beyond dualistic thought. So consequently, Nasi, everything becomes singular, everything becomes harmony, everything becomes balance. And so we are, you know, the reference is Genesis, the 11th chapter, the, you know, where we're moving into the reality that nothing that we imagine shall what? Be impossible to accomplish.
Right. Yes. Yes.
This is it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. So
yes, it is.
Going back and reverting back to Isaiah the 24th chapter, we're going to pick it up at the 3rd verse. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under these inhabitants, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. All this, Nasi, in an effort to prolong their time and their dominion.
Yeah.
Now we've all pointed out.
Possession of their wealth.
That's correct. That's correct. To hold on to our inheritance.
Right.
And we've talked about this time period, and you know, this critical time cycle. Nasik alluded to it when he mentioned the inductive dualistic worldview, when that was instituted. Very critical period of time, and
very critical.
You know, our emancipation, you know, not freedom, our emancipation. You don't emancipate a slave. You emancipate an indentured servant. And he now see you're supposed to pay him his wages.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There you
Family,
go.
you're supposed to pay him his wages. See, we can do this all in context, so that we're all in agreement. See, they transgressed the laws that were in place, changed the ordinance. See, we must understand that what we underwent was not punishment for something that we fell short of.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Right.
We got to understand this.
Right.
Now, see, read definitions the other day of white and black. And black was defined as what? Deserving punishment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In our doctrinal training and entrainment and indoctrination, we have all bought into this aspect of, hey, we transgressed the law and all this kind of stuff, and God is punishing us. And in order to get the yoke off of our back, we got to do this and do that and wear this and eat this and say this like this in order to please God so we get him on our side. Well, whose side has he been on, family, if he wasn't on your side? The oppressors? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
We have to understand, family, that we all emanated into here as divine beings to accomplish something. And we keep saying that the process of emanation causes us to forget. It erases what? Memory.
Yeah.
Of our original origins. And it takes us a time to do what? Awake, arise. We've read that. And we've had to undergo this process, this real-time ritual to what? To correct a flaw. Our ancestors' family have been in charge of this from the very beginning. We've shown you example after example. They've been in place, Nasi, have not taken their eye off this process.
Absolutely not, Eitai.
Never. But these individuals that are sitting in the place, they have changed laws that had been put in place, ordinances, covenants, broken every one. We need not look to the east, look to the west, to their dealings with our forefathers, the indigenous people that were in the Americas, broke every treaty.
Every treaty
that they've ever made. See, we only hearken back because we've been dualistically trained, family. We only hearken back to the 40 acres and the mule. Well, and we didn't get that either, now see.
No.
So, but it was much more than that, family. And it was after that they had, done all this trickery and all this fraud. See, 1864, 1863, 1864, is the date that we recognize the Emancipation Proclamation on. Now, I think it should have happened almost a century or more than a century before that.
Before.
Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
So we know who they talking about, transgressing laws, changing the ordinance. We were more prisoners of war than we were slaves. Large population of slaves, indentured servitude, and prisoners of war, and that sort of thing. And Malkia, that's still going on today. And
absolutely,
individuals get incarcerated.
Gang.
Still going on today, family. And we know how out of balance that system is. Therefore
Mm-hmm.
hath the curse devoured the earth, they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. This is going to be very important, this aspect of fire in the end times. Uh, Moving forward to the book of James, the 5th chapter, I just want to show you that the language is consistent. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your
Mm-hmm.
gold and silver is cankered. The rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Here it is, eat your
Mm-hmm.
flesh as it were
Mm-hmm.
fire. They're going to be burned up. Now, we don't know the details. We can speculate, but we can only
Right.
generalize at this point. We don't know the details,
Mm-hmm.
how they're going to be dealt with this energy. We don't know if it's thermal energy. We don't know that it's
Right.
electric.
Right.
We don't know that if it's
Mm-hmm.
cosmic. But
Mm-hmm.
we know whatever it is, it's going to burn them. It's going to burn them up.
Yes. Yep.
Have heaped up treasure for the last days. Behold, and here we go. This is going to prove what we just said about indentured servitude being what? The majority predicament. The predicament of the majority of people enslaved
Mm-hmm.
in America, or I'm sorry, in captivity in America. Behold, the hire of the laborers. Stop right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hire means the reward, the compensation of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud. We go back. They changed the ordinances,
Yes.
changed the laws to what? Hold on to this, to what they've owed us.
Mm-hmm.
That you have kept back by fraud crieth out, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of hosts, the Lord of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. Message for us in verses 7 and 8. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it until he receiveth the early and latter rain. Well, let's move back, because you're going to see that all of these symbols are in what we just covered. Early and latter rain in James 5 is the dew of herbs. Are you all with me?
Mm-hmm.
In
Okay.
Isaiah 20, the reference that we used in Isaiah 26, reading the 19th verse, thy dead man shall, together with my dead body, shall arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in the dust. See, this is a reference or symbolic to a seed in the dust. Are you all with me? In the New Testament, Yeshua said, the words attributed to Jesus or Yeshua, that unless a kernel of wheat, a seed, falleth into the ground and what? Die, it abideth alone. But if it does die, it bears much fruit. Same scriptural reference, same imagery. Ye that dwell in the dust, for the dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. All right, now Seegan already said this is the true resurrection. This is the true resurrection. Everything is being revealed, family, it clearly. So again, in Isaiah, the dew of the herbs, these individuals that have been planted, hidden in the earth. Listen, hidden in the earth, in the dust of the earth, hidden in the dust of the earth. We're told to be patient and what? Wait until we receive the early and latter rain. Dew of the herbs. Be ye also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. We were told also to hide for a little while. Anybody know where we're going to hide? We're going to hide like seeds in the earth. In the earth. We're going to get to this prophecy. So just a little introduction and a lead in to where we're going now, family, because we're going to get in depth with this. The story of the blue Kachina and the red Kachina. This was, I took this from a website that was titled Mighty Warriors 8184 from November 28th of 2015. And there was this picture here, and I'll try to make the words clearer because it's in small pixels. In the final days, we will look up in our heavens, and we will witness the return of the two brothers who helped create this world in the birthing time. Now, we're going to go into these two brothers. Now, see.
Yes, sir.
See, if we're dualistic and literal, we'll be looking for two. We'll be looking for two brothers.
Right.
All right. But always, when you hear of two brothers, whether it be Esau and Jacob, they're talking about two aspects of one thing.
Yeah.
But you can't be dualistic. So I'm going to show you exactly who the two brothers, when they refer to that, is, who helped create this world in the birthing time. Polgandoa is the guardian of our North Pole, and his brother Polangoa is the guardian of the South Pole. In the final days, the blue star Kachina will come to be with his nephews, and they will return to the earth. And they will return the earth, rather, to its natural, I can't read that word, but it says counterclockwise.
Oh, Eitai, you didn't say that.
Yes, I did, Nasi.
You didn't say that. I got something for you all. I got something for Oh, you didn't say that.
Yes, I did, Nasi. Now, again, it's going, all of this is coming, it's being revealed, family. Now, see, here it goes. It says in Isaiah, we just read it, where it says, behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down. Now, they just said the north and south poles.
Right.
Right.
So if it turns upside down, and we're not talking literally, family. We're not talking literally here. We're talking a reversal being taking place.
Yes.
It is now, see, the tail becoming the
Tail
head.
coming the head again. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
It's
Yes,
going
sir.
to turn everything back around because we've been, we've been turned inside out.
Mm-hmm.
So we've understood in the simulated reality that clockwise is the way to go. That you read what? Left to right instead of right to
Mm-hmm.
left. But you're supposed to think right to left. You're supposed to go from the intuitive aspect, and the psychic or spiritual aspect is supposed to do what? Govern the logical aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Govern what? The intellectual and computive aspect of the
Yes.
brain. Isn't that right?
No,
Gang.
that's just
So,
Absolutely.
but it's undeniable now. See, this is being revealed to us.
oh, Eitai. Yes, it is. Yes,
It's
it
being
is.
revealed to us.
In Isaiah, the 5th chapter,
Uh-huh.
it tells us about that.
Let's go
It
to
tells
it.
us, woe unto those that call up, down,
That's right.
and down.
Down, up.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right. But now see,
wow.
that is the affect of the simulated reality, buying into
Yeah,
dualism.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, family, when we talk about these two brothers, we're gonna go into detail about this. They've already taken it away from the literal aspect in talking about the polarities of the North and South Pole. The brother begins the post by saying, Shalom, brothers and sisters. I just wanted to share this Hopi prophecy that I stumbled across. The messages that were brought forth are true. The end will come. The earth will be purified. How?
Fire.
By fire.
Mm-hmm.
Consistent with what we've read so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wicked will
Mm-hmm.
be burned up, etc., and so on. There will be a new heaven and new earth. People need to be preparing themselves spiritually
Yes. Yes.
because Yeshua will return. Now, we ain't on that like that, but we
Mm-hmm.
understand. I believe it was Bakuri. Well, no, I think it was Danielle or Bakuri that put up a something up on Facebook that talked about what this idea of Yeshua the Messiah meant, from a spiritual aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, and I'm pretty sure that this brother, because he says prepare yourself spiritually, that he's talking about this in non-literal terms of like, ain't no two brothers gonna come nowhere, you know. It's talking about two brothers mean two related things that are actually one
Mm-hmm.
in singular thought, in holistic
Mm-hmm.
thought. I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
that a new day is coming in my post. A new day is coming, and my thoughts, part 4, the coming storm. So this was back in November of 2015. So we are by no means claiming any exclusivity in terms of this thing being revealed. But what we are saying is that we have conformed ourselves and aligned ourselves to this in a very special way. I don't know of anyone at 11:48 Eastern Standard Time on a Monday that is on a call when
Right.
everybody else is working, Malkia,
Yes.
that is on a
Absolutely.
call talking about,
Yes.
and we're talking
Yes.
about 6 days a week,
Yes.
6 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The blue Kachina prophecy. The blue Kachina prophecy. Not NASA image shows giant blue sphere in front of the sun. Now we're going to start here. I'm going to take you to the two brothers. All right. to the two brothers. Do you all remember as we were going through and following the leopard or the panther through history over the last couple of calls, we mentioned that the Sioux nation, specifically the Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota, that they were called the Teton. You all recall this.
Right.
And Teton is related to Titan. Titan. Well, we're going to talk about the Titans, all right? And we're going to specifically talk about two brothers. Two brothers. Here we go. Now, we're going to familiarize you with an ancient term because we have to be, if we're going to decode these things, and if we're going to have a full understanding, we have to get rid of this spookism that surrounds symbols, that surrounds symbols.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at the Dakota, they were called by the Ojibwe little snakes, as compared to Indawi, big snakes, all right, used by the Iroquois. And when you read about this, there were certain individuals from the Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota tribes that resented being called little snakes. Well, normal thinking would say, well, yeah, snake is evil and low. That no, they resented being called little snakes.
Mm-hmm.
They viewed themselves as the big serpents on the planet. So we have to understand. We have to understand this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ancient understanding, once you search this thing out, had no negative connotation. On the contrary, much to the contrary, it was an honor to be called a naga, a serpent. That means that you were wise, that you were powerful. Even the
Mm-hmm.
Bible, Yeshua instructed the disciples to what? Be wise as a serpent,
Yes.
but innocent as a dove. So it couldn't have had the negative connotation that most of us have been programmed. I can give you a lot more examples.
And Eitai,
Yes,
and even the serpent in the Genesis became a dragon in Revelation.
that's correct. That's correct. Ancient,
Powerful.
powerful symbols.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we have to demystify these terms in our minds if we are going to come to an understanding. So, under the heading The Super Serpent of History, Myth and Legend, serpent power, family, is transformative or transcending power.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank, period.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. It was during Nasik these critical time periods that we've indicated, once you study it, that the serpent was transformed into from the noble position that it held all over the world
Right, right.
to being something that is related to the devil. And you can
Yeah.
you can parallel
Mm-hmm.
the denigration of that term right along with the term black,
Yeah.
the term and it denigrated along these lines. The
Mm-hmm.
ancient word for serpent was naga. you trace it, it becomes Negro, then it becomes nigger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do the etymological trace, and you'll find out just what I found out. So the word serpent, the English words we get from serpent are the words sir, Nasic for nobility.
Yes.
A
Yep.
knight is knighted. That's a position of honor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you address a king but sire?
Yeah.
That is that is another etymological root. The word survive,
Mm-hmm.
surpass,
Mm-hmm.
surmount,
Mm-hmm.
surmise. Even in the Hebrew, the word sar
Right.
for prince or minister, and the word Lucifer
Mm-hmm.
is actually the Hebrew word Hallel or Hallel. We get the word hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Come on, so
Yeah. Yeah.
we gotta cut this spookism out
yes.
and
Yes.
and bypass this programming. Hallel literally means brightness or light bearer. It means
Right.
morning star,
Mm-hmm.
shining one. Also,
Yeah.
also the word royal. Okay, halal is the prime root of hallel, meaning to praise, boast, shine, celebrate. It's related to a celebrity or somebody that is renowned, and thus
Mm-hmm.
related to the word Shem, family,
Yes. Yes.
going
Mm-hmm.
back to the Sem priesthood, the panther priesthood, the leopard
Mm-hmm.
priesthood, and we trace that. Now, we've said that the central attribute for transformation, transcendence, is the ability to change, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The ability and the aptitude to change and transform and to renew oneself. Well, when you look at a snake or a serpent, they shed their skin quite often.
Yes. Yes, they do. Mm-hmm.
The average snake shall shed its skin 2 to 4 times per year. And we know that just from our understanding of biology, we do the same thing,
Absolutely.
that we're constantly shedding our skin, constantly renewing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the snake, therefore, is a perfect example of this transformative power, transcending power. You all with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Young snakes that are actively growing, young snakes that are actively growing may shed their skin every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the etymology. And, again, we see this idea of transformation from what? The solar system into the cosmic reality, from the
Yes.
simulated reality to what? The organic reality outside of the simulated box. But the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden, that is the pen or the enclosure, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Well, let me ask you a question. Was he telling the truth?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't
Okay.
lie about that.
He didn't lie. Right.
Now, religious training, now see, they want to explain that away And they want to rationalize it by saying, well, they died spiritually.
That's how they do it. That's
Okay,
exactly how they do
let me ask y'all a question.
it.
Another word for spirit is energy. The first law
Right.
of thermodynamics is this:
Yes.
that energy, spirit, is neither created nor can it be destroyed.
Right.
Right. Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they
No
off on
beginning.
the wrong foot on that doctrinal argument right from out the gate.
Right off that. Right. Yes.
For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes, all of them, all three of them, shall be open.
Yes. Yes.
Ye shall
All
what?
three.
Be as gods,
Mm-hmm.
knowing good and evil. And if you read further along in the narrative, the gods of the garden said, behold, the man has become as one of us,
One
Yes.
was.
to
Right.
know
Yes.
good and evil. He
Mm-hmm.
ain't never lied. The serpent ain't never lied in that narrative. Are you all
Man.
with me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now see, we go back to this word star. All right. And that leads us to the word luminary. And star leads us to the word influence, which is an ethereal fluid held to flow from the stars. If y'all wondering who the stars are, go look in the mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who the
Yes.
luminaries are, because your own scriptures tell you,
Mm-hmm.
I and the children of Israel,
Yes.
who are for
Yes.
signs and seasons, just,
Mm-hmm.
just like just like the stars in heaven. They ain't talking about no stars up in no sky. They talking about
No.
the stars that came down to earth, to the earth plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let us get to these two brothers. All right, Prometheus and Epimetheus. This is the knowledge of good and evil. God's the integration of good and evil, accomplishing the miracle of the one thing. These ain't two brothers like this. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing who the two brothers are.
Yes.
In the religious world, they became God and the devil. To the religious mind, now see,
Right.
but I can show you scripture for scripture that the activity and the words and the behavior of God, of the devil, is mimicked by God
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
in your
Mm-hmm.
own Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just, even in the Bible, it's talking about family, two polar opposites, north and south, God and the devil, east and west, high and low, hot and cold, being two aspects of what? One thing. Ain't
Yeah.
no two brothers like that. Now, see,
No, no. You
as
got it.
above, so below.
Hello.
That which is below corresponds to that which is above, and that which is above corresponds with that which is below, to accomplish what? The miracle of the one thing. This Prometheus and Epimetheus, these in the Gnostic or the Greek mythology, these were titans. They were brothers, titans. These are the two titans. Listen, Prometheus was the god of forethought. and crafty counsel, who was entrusted with the task of molding mankind out of clay.
Yeah, right.
Have we covered this, family? Come on now.
Yeah,
This would be representative in the scriptures of
right,
Yakub or Jacob, right? We've already gone through this.
right.
And grasping the heel, family, grasping his brother's heel. And in the Kemetic tradition, he's known as Kanum. Kanum. His attempts to better the lives of his creation brought him into direct conflict with Zeus. Firstly, he tricked the gods out of the best portion of the sacrificial feast, acquiring the meat for the feasting of man. This is God accepting Cain's offering and not
Right,
Abel's offering.
right.
Then, when Zeus withheld fire, he stole it from heaven and delivered it to mortal kind, hidden inside a fennel stalk. As punishment for these rebellious acts, Zeus ordered the creation of Pandora, the first woman, as a means to deliver misfortune to the house of man.
That's always talking about opening Pandora's box, huh?
That's it. That's it.
And
Goodness
and look,
gracious.
also in Avatar, there was a place called Pandora.
Yes,
That's where the indigenous people live.
that's correct, brother. This is all about us. This is all about us. Hey, these two brothers, now see, coming together are, you're going to find out, is our lower self, our lower consciousness, what? Arising to join our higher consciousness. That's all this is talking about.
That's all it is. That's all it's talking about.
It's talking about the point where we become whole.
So now, Eitai, one of the things I think we need to say here for everybody, uh, you know, because maybe somebody is struggling with this, but what we need to say right here is that now we are reading, and he stated it already. He's already stated it. I'm just reiterating. He stated that we get into, this what we call the Kachina prophecies now. And in other words, now we are getting the knowledge of how all of this occurred and how simplistic it is that causes you to be able to become whole again. You follow what I'm saying?
That's correct.
Cain.
See, because now we're talking about, now we didn't know none of this right here now.
Right.
We had no idea of this here. This here lets us see the other side of what, you understand, we've been struggling with, the good and the evil. It's just nothing but what? You coming back into wholeness.
That's it.
Everything is about you and I.
That's it.
Not complicated.
It's simple. It's very simple, family.
Yes.
Eitai, can I share something too?
Yes, you sure can, brother. Go ahead.
In harmony with what's been spoken, when you count the letters of Prometheus and Epimetheus, it comes out to 10. One represents the masculine energy.
Yes.
The 0 represents the feminine energy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now
right.
So now when you multiply 1 times 1, now also the masculine energy represents the physical world.
That's correct.
So when you multiply 1 times 1, what do you get?
One.
One, which is the new world.
That's correct. Absolutely correct, brother. So we look at the word Saturn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is defined on this wise: an ancient italic deity, popularly believed to have appeared in Italy in the reign of Janus. Now, you look at Janus, the figure of Janus, he has two faces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Listen carefully. We get the word January. He has two faces. And to have instructed the people in agriculture, gardening, etc., thus elevating them from barbarism to social order and civilization. Now, it's debatable whether that was an elevation or not, because the natural state of things is wild and free. And and this garden symbolism, man was not free, and because
Mm-hmm.
once you start to order things, it makes it necessary to what? Work, till the garden,
Mm-hmm.
till
Mm-hmm.
the garden, and that word till is the word avad. It's the word
Yeah.
avad, meaning to work for, labor for, toil for, serve as a servant or a slave.
Mm-hmm.
His reign was sung by poets as a golden age. All right. Titan. Now look, early 15th century. What have we been emphasizing?
Yes.
What have
Yes.
we been emphasizing, family? Early 15th century. From the Latin Titan, from Greek Titan, member of a mythological race of giants. Stop there. wasn't no mythology. These are
Right.
ancient,
Right.
ancient ancestors.
Yes.
Originally 6 sons and 6 daughters of Gaia and Uranus. Gaia representing the earth, Uranus representing the heavens. In the
Yes.
beginning was created what? The heavens and the earth,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
who were overthrown by Zeus and the other gods. The war was a popular theme for Greek artists and writers. So you have the term Saturn and Titan. The word Satan is a
Mm.
combination of the word
Mm. Mm.
Saturn
Saturn
and
and
Titan.
Titan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Come on.
have we heard anything negative about either Saturn or Titan?
No.
Nope.
Satan, from the Greek Satanas, from Hebrew Satan, meaning an adversary. Well, who was he an adversary to?
Right.
The gods that overthrew him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
One who plots against another, from Satan to show enmity, to oppose, to plot against, one who opposes, obstructs, or acts as an adversary. Now, let's go into the word serpent for a minute. Introduced as the craftiest of all beasts of the field. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
Prometheus was the god of forethought and crafty counsel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Of all
Mm-hmm.
the beasts of the field that Yahweh God had made, the serpent in the Garden of Eden is portrayed as just that, a serpent. Satan does not make an appearance in Genesis 2 and 3. It's just it was never connected. Now, see,
I see.
Mm-hmm.
for the simple reason that when the story was written, the concept of the devil had not yet been invented.
Wow.
Search it out.
Goodness.
Search it out.
Seriously?
Wow. Wow.
Search it out.
Oh,
Don't take
man.
my word for it at all. Search it
Gee.
out. We've been emphasizing, now see, we've been emphasizing the etymology and the change historically in these words. It's undeniable.
Yes.
You've been bamboozled on this.
Really? Really?
Explaining
Me.
explaining the serpent in the Garden of Eden as Satan would have been as a foreign concept to ancient authors of the text as referring to Ezekiel's vision as a UFO. And this is why I don't buy into this ancient alien. I don't even, when people talk that, I don't listen to it because I know they coming with the bamboozlement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But Google Ezekiel's vision right now, and you'll see that plenty of people today have made that connection. It's a latter day addition, a latter day augmentation of the original thought.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the word Satan appears elsewhere in the Hebrew Bible / Old Testament. It is never a proper name. Let me repeat that.
Right.
It is
Right.
never a proper name, since there is no devil in ancient Israel's worldview. There can't yet have been a proper name for such a
Wow.
creature.
Oh, man. That's... Gee.
Man.
Hey,
Good gracious.
I'm telling
So-
you. This
is something.
uh
Yes, sir. Loving this.
hey,
Loving this.
family.
wow.
Wow.
This is what Nasik has been telling us about
Yeah.
the inception of this inductive
Wait,
dualistic worldview.
Yes. Yes.
Eitai,
Yes.
Eitai,
Yes, sir.
Eitai, say it again.
I'm going to read it again.
Please.
In fact, the word Satan appears elsewhere in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament. It is never a proper name, since there is no devil in ancient Israel's worldview. There can't yet have been a proper name for such a creature. Point blank, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take my word for it. Search it out like I did. You'll come to the same conclusion. But again, now see, he has been emphasizing the inception in history. It has a birth date, now see. It has a birth date of this inductive dualistic worldview.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Eitai, see, terminology again, induction. Now, listen, prior to they creating the word induction, they was using the word deduction. And what they said is that they could not create very much. So they came up with the word inductive. Now you can infer anything and make people
correct.
Yes.
Now see,
now
they
search it out.
expanded,
Don't take my word for it. Go and search it out for
that's
yourself.
right. They expanded the program.
That's what they
Yes.
did.
Expanded the program
Yes.
of the matrix. And this is how now see they changed the game.
That's right.
And family, the goal of this, the intent of it, was to hold on to dominion. They knew
Yes.
they knew that we were about to what? serve. We were about to come awake.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Eitai, that's why Willie Lynch made the statement that this would last for 1,000
There you
years,
go.
possibly if you do it the right way.
You got to
You know?
Right.
control the language. Control the
Right.
language. Keep them in division.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We got to really hear this, Saints. If we hear this
Yes.
today, there'll never ever be a division between us again. If we
That's
can just
correct.
hear
Yes.
this today,
Yes.
there's
Come on.
never no reason for you and I to
Mm-hmm.
ever have any disagreement about anything. Because if we do, we now know who Satan is.
That's right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now, see. Absolutely.
Know who Satan is now.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yes. Absolutely. Now see.
Just like that.
Absolutely.
Just like
Just
that.
like that. Come on.
So if
Oh
there's no
God.
Satan, continuing on. So if there's no Satan in the Hebrew Bible, hello?
Eitai,
Yes.
can, can you let Nasi say that just one more time? I just want to hear it one more time.
Now, see, can you repeat what you just worth is well worth repeating.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What I was saying, is that if we can just hear this, you don't have to go no further. We could shut down right now,
That's
and we
right.
wouldn't have to go no further. We just heard what we just been taught. And if you can accept that as the truth, and it is the truth, there should never, ever, ever be a disagreement or opposition between any of us on this line
Now,
ever again. And if we do, we now know who, quote unquote, the devil is.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
that is an absolute statement.
Yes.
That is absolute right there. So, if there's no Satan in the Hebrew Bible, where does the devil come into the details of Eden? Excellent
Mm-hmm.
question. The
Mm-hmm.
worldview of Jewish readers of Genesis 2 and 3 profoundly changed in the centuries since the story was first written. And this is
Oh, that is right there.
the conception that we've all inherited, that
Yes,
we've
it is.
all been infected with.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Go upstairs then. I'm a vacuum.
After the canon of the Hebrew Bible closed, beliefs in angels, demons, and a final apocalyptic battle arose in a divided and turbulent Jewish community. Now, this was the era family of the Essenes.
Wow. Okay.
Of the
Okay.
Essenes. And we know we've already made the connection with the Essenes. We'll go back and review that. But this is
Mm-hmm.
it all falls under a very consistent timeline, family. All falls under a very consistent timeline. In light of this impending end, many turn to a renewed understanding of the beginning, and the Garden of Eden was reread and rewritten to reflect the changing ideas of a changed world, and not so much a changed world, but like Nasik said, a changed worldview. This thing
Yes.
has
Exactly
it,
right.
it has occurred on many occasions, but we're focusing on the one that is on the timeline closest to us,
Mm-hmm.
15th through the 17th and 18th century,
That's when it happened.
critical time period. In light of this, I'm sorry. two separate things happened and then merged. Satan became the proper name of the devil, a supernatural power now seen to oppose God as the
Right.
leader of demons and the forces of evil. And the serpent of the Garden of Eden became identified with him. This is from an article. You all can read it yourself. It's called How the Serpent Became Satan. Adam, Eve, and the Serpent in the Garden of Eden by Shauna Delansky, written on 6/1 of 2017. Moving forward, so we see Prometheus, the one brother family, Epimetheus. Prometheus represented forethought and crafty counsel. Epimetheus was one of the titans of the sun Iapetus and Clymene. He was the brother of Prometheus. His name is derived from the Greek word meaning afterthought or hindsight. Let me ask y'all on the phone, do you have the ability to of forethought? Is that one of your abilities?
Yeah.
Cain, absolutely, yes.
You have the ability of hindsight or afterthought.
Absolutely.
Cain, we do.
However, we've all said, man, I should have followed my first mind. And then
Right.
somebody will say, yeah, brother, hindsight is 2020.
Right.
This is all this is talking about. I'm going to show you how it's laid out in the Bible.
Oh, man.
His name is derived from the Greek word meaning afterthought or hindsight, which is the antonym of his brother's name, Prometheus. It is just the opposite side of the coin, family.
That's all it is.
Meaning forethought. The Hopi Indians said they referred to it as the two brothers, the North and the South Pole. An example in the scriptures of forethought, very simple example, and God said, let us let us make man in our image after our likeness. Genesis 1:26. That's forethought. Afterthought is this, and it repented the Lord God that he had made man on the earth.
That's afterthought.
And it grieved him in his heart. Genesis 6:6. Exodus 32:4. And the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. And the Lord repented that he had made Saul king over Israel. 1 Samuel. Do y'all see the two abilities? Forethought and afterthought. Now, it destroys our understanding of God as we have known it, because if he knows everything, why is he mad and grieved because a decision an all-knowing God made? I ain't talking about no God up in the heaven like that.
Right.
Man.
Eitai.
We done pulled up the skirt now, and we made it.
Hey, I say with this family, it's just so simple. It's just so simple. When you're dualistic, now see, told you that it's going to be conflict. You're going to have this internal conflict. Well, I think I should do this, but I don't know. Yeah, let me go on and do it. Man, I shouldn't have done that. You dualistic.
Simulated reality.
You're not whole.
Not see you mean people got pants not bought the skirt. It was fancy did it, not the skirt.
I wasn't able to hear. Could you repeat it again?
I said It was you meant to me pull down the pants, not pull up the skirt, because it was the pants that put this mess in the first place, not the skirt.
I was quoting the 53rd chapter of Isaiah.
Right. But hey,
That's what I was.
very good observation anyway. Because it was this paternalistic male thing that got us into all this.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're, we must understand, we've been extremely sophisticated and confused in our worldview, family. And it's caused us to unnecessarily complicate things that are just divinely simple, that we all know. This is it's at its essence knowledge of self. But if we're reading Nasik and trying to interpret the Bible as a human and not a divinity, we will never see any of this.
Never see any of it.
Because we'll be in the position of trying, of having a God over our head. Which
it'll be half truth.
Right. Which puts you into dualism. That's all you can have is half of something. And Bakuria, this is how most of us enter into these relationships as well.
Yep.
I'm going to have my other half.
Yes.
I'm looking for my other half.
Mm-hmm.
But that was never the ancient conception of this. Like you a half a C and she a half a C. And y'all come together and make a circle. Nah, it's supposed to be two holistic individuals.
That are two circles that make number 8.
That's right.
And when you lay the 8 down horizontally, is that everlasting symbol,
the
eternal symbol of everlasting life
or infinity. Right.
Yes.
So, family, this is all we're talking about. We're, we have to drop this, this spookism, and when we approach these things, because we'll never make heads or tails of this. And just like we read, all we're gonna do, we're not gonna be able to produce any deliverance on the earth.
Right.
Any deliverance on this earth, and we'll continue to do what we've been doing. Come to the 9-month period of incubation, the 9-month period of gestation, and then bring forth wind. Don't never produce nothing.
Right.
Just a lot of hot air, and really, trying to justify and explain away why we haven't produced anything, why we haven't brought our enemies' reign and dominion to an end. You all with me?
Damn.
Yeah.
Wrap your mind around that.
Oh yeah.
Family, I'm going to put this on pause for a minute. We take a 5-minute break. This file is so large that it buffers for a while. So I'm going to put it on pause. And then once it stops doing that, we'll continue on, okay?
Okay.
All right, just put on a few minutes.
You mean there's more Eitai?
So now that we've done away, hopefully with the spookism that is involved in, the symbols, understand, many of these symbols have been outlawed by, and denigrated. Now, see, and by the individuals that want to maintain their dominion. And but we have to take back possession of these things.
Absolutely.
If we want a full understanding of these things, and we want to fully align with everything that our ancestors have left us, so that we can fully activate our power and get this thing underway.
Right.
So the article reads on this wise: NASA's cameras have captured a massive blue sphere in front of the sun that has, look, UFO enthusiasts completely captivated. See, they're getting ready to start with the bamboozlement now. Others have related the incident, and we are those others, to an ancient Hopi Indian prophecy known as the Blue Kachina prophecy. Now, keep in mind, this happened last year. Keep in mind that this brother anticipated this stuff in 2015. So we're in a really critical period here. According to tales, when the blue star Kachina makes its appearance in the heavens, the fifth world will emerge. Well, now see, we've been saying that we have been teaching from a fifth world or fifth level or fifth heaven perspective. Is that not right?
Right.
The Hopi Indians also believe, and this is one world beyond what? The fourth dimensional plane. The Hopi Indians also believe that this would be the day of purification. All of the references, the scripture passages that we read, talked about this day of judgment or this day of purification. You purify things with water, you purify things even more with fire. And again, fire is even more transformative from a molecular level. Once the blue Kachina, or the blue spherical object, appears in the sky, listen, star people, the star people will seek shelter in the center of the earth to find safety from what is to come. Now remember, they said that they talked about this in terms of rising from the dust of the earth. And even, I believe it is verse 20, come my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut the doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. Sounds like the same reference, doesn't it?
Yeah, Eitai, that's Isaiah what?
That was Isaiah 26 and 20, rather.
Right, that's what I thought it was, right.
Right. 26 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a reference. Hold on. Hold on, family. There's also a reference. I believe it's in it is in the New Testament.
Yeah.
Revelations 6 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, all of this is in context. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of the heaven fell unto earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken by a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, listen, and the great men and rich men and the chief captains and mighty men and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. Remember, the inhabitants
Right.
were sitting on the throne. See, don't think of some individual coming called God or a Messiah. It's you that has to put yourself on that throne.
Yes.
Let's
Absolutely,
don't be
Eitai.
spooky about this.
Mm-hmm.
Sit yourself on the throne, God. This is how we make this thing happen. Assume your position, and this thing
Absolutely.
will come down.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And said to the rock, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. And from what? The wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? We got to be internal about this. We got look.
To be.
So if you're asking the question, well, how are we gonna go underground? Make it happen,
Mm-hmm.
Captain.
Mm-hmm.
How's God gonna ask that question? How is a divine being gonna ask that question?
Eitai, ain't in the book of the law it says if will question power or something
That's
like
correct.
that?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes. Mm-hmm.
this is not gonna be logically done.
Right.
If you're thinking about a logical solution to it, we gonna know what to do. When?
Yes. Yes.
ANOW. When it
Yes.
matters, right now.
Mm-hmm.
You all with me?
Gang.
Dang.
Recently, images were captured by NASA that have many wondering if the blue Kachina prophecy could potentially be coming true. However, others believe that the images were caused by what? A UFO. So again, that's the bamboozlement there. Every time you see that, you know that is a deflection of something that is organically occurring. That is organically occurring. So as we get ready to close, we're gonna break down this word Kachina again, and it's related. It's the Hopi word. The way they said it was Katsina or Katsinim. We know that is Hebrew, Katsinim, plural,
Mm-hmm.
and they say that these are spirit beings, divine beings. They ain't talking about nobody but us
Yes. Yes.
in our what? Fully awakened, fully illuminated, fully enlightened state. And they talked about it in three different aspects in terms of the supernatural being, in terms of the dancers from the Hopi community that mimic these individuals, and they made these Kachina dolls that they gave to children. All right. The word katzin in Hebrew, katzin, means rich man. What have we been talking
Mm.
about, family?
Right. Mm-hmm.
It also has the meaning, katzin, also has the meaning to cut off or cut down, to destroy, to bring to an end. Well, what? Their dominion. Their dominion. This is what this Kachina event, the prophecy is talking about, bringing down these rich men. This is the theme to the scriptures. The heirs, what? Returning for their inheritance. Vindicating their ancestors, vindicating the ones that have gone before. Katzim is also a determining, a magistrate, a leader, a captain, a prince, a ruler. The one that what? Makes the ruling. We can't be waiting for anyone to do this for us. We have to assume our position of authority. Go right ahead.
If I can add to this, I'm looking, my dictionary might be limited, but it has officer, official clerk,
yes,
function, police, cop, officer, treasurer, administrator, superintendent.
That's right. An official, a magistrate. Absolutely.
Right.
We the one that makes the ruling. Judge, jury, and execution. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
This word appears in the scriptures, I believe, 2 times. Once in Joshua 19 and 13, and it's the word. It's actually a whole word. You'll find it there whole. It's called Eitai. Eitai, the time of the judge. And you all have to, you got to see this. That almost sounds like my name.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the name and I can't brag on that. I'm just saying that this is no coincidence. Abba gave me that name. I didn't choose the name for myself, and obviously he saw something.
Yes.
Right.
A time to judge. I'm not trying to make myself into nobody, family. Nothing like that. You couldn't follow me if you wanted to. I'm not looking for nobody to follow me. Not looking to make no name.
Right.
For myself. Right. I'm just pointing it out that we cannot ignore or brush these things off as coincidence.
If you do, you're still stuck in the box.
We'd be still stuck in the box.
Right.
Kachinas are spirits or personifications of things in the real world. These spirits are believed to visit the Hopi villages during the first half of the year. The Kachina can represent anything in the natural world or cosmos. See, this is what we have to understand, and this is what the ancestors said to me today, that they have a representation and we can relate to them in the simulated reality under the solar system. They have an aspect in there that we relate to as relatives. Do y'all hear me?
Yeah, okay.
That is their spirit aspect. However, they have an energetic aspect that is cosmic.
Yes.
Their spirit aspect is going to be like what we said, to aid us, to watch over us as guardians, and to aid us to what? Get outside the box. Their cosmic aspect is what it's where we join and become one.
Yes.
Again, not separate. So it can refer to anything in the natural world or the cosmos, from a revered ancestor to an element. So this is exactly what was what was told to me today. That they have uh, a natural world aspect, like we introduced you to the historic figure Ankh Afnakansu, right? A
Okay.
brother that actually
Okay.
existed, but he has a corresponding aspect in the cosmic world.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
And that is the one that has what? Opened the door to us from the at the transitional point called the duat, at the transitional point called the duat, or the halls of Amenti, and so that we can what? Transition or or transition into what? The cosmic reality from the simulated reality. This is saying the same thing. It can mean also a location like this Itakazin or Itakazin is an actual location. Is an actual location. You know, what we would refer to as a gateway. All right. A quality, a natural phenomenon, or a concept. And I'm saying that this, when we look at the prophecy, is going to incorporate all of these things holistically. The local pantheon of Kachinas varies in each Pueblo community. There may be Kachinas for the sun, stars, thunderstorms, wind, corn, insects, and many other concepts. It's holistic, family. Kachinas are understood as having human-like relationships. That is as our ancestors. They may have uncles, sisters, and grandmothers. Well, we go back, family, to what we read. In the final days, we will look up in our heavens and we will witness the return of the two brothers. Then it goes on to say that the blue star Kachina will come to be with his nephews. But if we get fooled into just taking a human literal aspect, we're not going to know that this is holistic, that there are multiple views of this thing. And if we just thinking in terms in humans, we're going to be limited. And we're not going to be able to manifest the power that is requisite at this period of time. They may have uncles, sisters, grandmothers, and may marry and have children. Although not worshipped, each is viewed as a powerful being who, if given veneration and respect, well, what does that mean? Attention. Where attention goes, energy flows.
Energy flows. Yep.
This is why we're going into detail and giving you, we showing where the inheritance is going to come from, family. We're showing who's got it hoarded up for the last days. We've shown you that in these banks, these international banks, right?
Right.
Yes.
Dang.
So if you need money or finances for something, focus your attention on one or all of these banks. And command your inheritance to come to you.
Right. Focus on the intent.
It's on the intent. I want my inheritance right now.
Right.
Give it up, turn it loose. Play that James Brown record. Why you doing?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Each is a powerful being who, if given veneration and respect, can use this particular power for human good. Well, that's what we read about Prometheus, right?
Yes.
Bringing what? Fire to man.
Right.
Fire to man. And fire is just a form of energy. It's a form of energy that not no God or nothing like that is doing for you. These aspects live inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just focusing your attention to that particular aspect because you know what time it is. Bringing
Damn.
rainfall, healing, fertility, or protection, for example. One observer has written the central theme of the Kachina, they call it religion, is the presence of life in all objects that fill the universe. Ain't nothing but melanin. Ain't nothing but melanin, I see.
Yes.
Nothing but melanin.
Everything has an essence or life force, and humans must interact with these things or fail to survive. We must begin to interact with these things or fail to survive. The exact origin of the Kachinas is not completely known, but according to one version of Hopi belief, the Kachinas are beneficent spirit beings who came with the Hopis from the underworld. This they talking about the Titans. That they talking about our early ancestors. That's all. Same story. The underworld family we know is a Amenti. It's the West. That's where the sun comes to die.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
where this thing is going to be culminated. The final chapter is going to be written in the Americas
Yes.
by us.
Yes. Absolutely.
The underworld is a concept common to the Pueblo Indians. As a matter of fact, all indigenous people. It is a place where the spirits or shades live. I mean, we're gonna show you all of this. The shades or the shadows. The newly born come from there. That's why we got to revert to what? Becoming a child again.
Born again.
Now, see, we take ourselves too seriously,
Yes, we do.
and that is just ego. That is just ego. I don't never want to grow up like that.
Me neither, Chills.
I want to keep my imagination and the wonder about all this active.
Right.
An adult thinks that they know everything.
And you can't teach them nothing.
Can't teach them nothing. But the scripture says
Eitai.
the little child will lead them, right?
Gang.
The newly born come from there, and the dead return there. Very simple. Kachinas wandered with the Hopis over the world. Well, where were they at? They were inside of them. Over the world until they arrived at Casa Grande. Casa Grande means the big house, where both the Hopis and the Kachinas settled for a while. With powerful ceremonies, the Kachinas brought rain for the crops and were in general of much help and comfort. Unfortunately, all the Kachinas were killed when the Hopis were attacked by enemies, and their souls returned to the underworld.
Right.
Since the sacred paraphernalia of the Kachinas were left behind, the Hopis began impersonating the Kachinas. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. They began acting like supernatural beings. And that is what we're going to have to do. Assume our positions.
Yes.
Wearing their masks and costumes and imitating their ceremonies in order to bring rain, good crops, and life's happiness. And this is an example of the Kachina dancers here. And you all, we see the same personification right here in modern days where they're playing the ancient game of basketball. What? Dressed up like their ancient ancestors. That's just aiding the imagination, family. Just aiding their ability to what? Visualize. And
that's where your real.
Hello?
That's where your real power is, your imagination.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. These are the Kachina dolls. The Hopi believe star people and star knowledge will return at the end of time, at the end of this current cycle of time. What have we been focusing on if it has not been our relationship to the stars? As they have in past cycles. At the time of the Blue Kachina, star people visit the heart of the earth to be protected during the world's destruction. Now, does that heart of the earth, is that a physical location? Or is that an aspect, is that a mental aspect that you enter into, a certain level of consciousness? We don't know yet, but let us consider. When the first, yes, sir.
The if you look at heart of the earth, if you look at heart, it's actually talking the same thing, because you move the H to the rear, you get earth. So it's actually talking about your inner self.
Right.
It's an anagram.
It is talking about your inner self.
And it's talking about, you know, what we're going to understand as we move forward is the essential nature of this heart chakra in all of this, family. So, you know, we just keep an open mind. We just keep an open mind till further light is shed on this. When the first world was destroyed, people returned to the surface to live as ants for a duration of the second world. The third world describes an advanced civilization with flying shields and wars between distant cities, eventually destroyed by great floods. Very similar to the Babylonian mythology.
Eitai,
Yes.
I'd like to ask the question, if possible.
Go ahead.
Eitai, where did this in the valley of Yehoshua, where I will call all my people down, and there I will be face to face?
You want to make a statement about that?
You know, I was just listening to you talk about the West and everything, but you know, in the scripture says in that last day, everyone will be called to the valley of Yehoshaphat, and there he will plead face to face. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to see how we could tie that in.
Well, there is no doubt. There is no doubt that the culmination of this happens in the West, not in the East. You got to mute the microphone, brother. That it happens, family, in the West and not in the East. When we look at the ancient West and East. The Eastern Hemisphere was called, and we'll go into this in detail, was called Eastern Amexem, Amexem. Look it up. Eastern Amexem. The West was called Western Amexem. And the same, I'll give you some facts. The capstone that is missing from one of the pyramids in Egypt. Amaria, you and Abigail are there right now in Kemet. And you might have heard of this, that the capstone that is missing, the pyramid is made of a certain stone material. You know the only place that they can find that stone at, family, is Stone Mountain, Georgia.
I know that's what you was gonna say.
Absolutely. It's Stone Mountain, Georgia. Number one fact.
Yeah.
The so-called kingdom was always divided.
Yeah.
In this dualistic period. You had in ancient Kemet, you had the upper and lower kingdoms, correct? In ancient Israel, you had Israel and Judah, northern and southern, right? And so you also had, to be holistic, Eastern and Western, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And remember, the earth was all one at one particular time.
Yes.
Malkiel is going to be able to testify that in the West, in Virginia, you have the site of what? Jerusalem and Zion.
Yes.
Am I not?
Yes. King, absolutely.
That's correct. That's correct.
You have these sites, and all you got to do, go to the ancient explorers. Go to the ancient explorers, and when they talked about the promised land, it was to the west, not the east. Again, now see, this is the idea that has been propagated, just like we looked at the serpent. We know what change took place. All we have to do is go back, and I want you all to familiarize yourself. We were going to go over it at one point, and we went somewhere else. Familiarize yourself, and you can write this down. Prester John, PresteRJohn. Prester John. Do your research.
Spell that again. Prestor.
Ter. Prester John. And the name John. Now, you all heard of the Mormons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have to understand that the aberrant man has never invented anything. That all of his knowledge came from us. And they established the Holy Land in Utah. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty correct. That's pretty much correct.
And we already showed you that Wakanda was not in Africa, correct?
Right.
Okay.
But in
Right.
South Dakota. So when you look at the legend of Prester John, when the explorers were trying to find out about this legend, and it is documented I mean, you'll come across so many documents. It's not funny, but it's not in the normal curriculum. Now, seeking our normal understanding of history, they understood that New Jerusalem was in the Americas.
Yeah.
Look it up. The final battle is going to take place in the West. I don't care where you look, the compendium of ancient prophecies puts this thing in the West. So if there's a valley of decision, that's going to be in the West.
Wow.
That's going to be in the West. All of this stuff is in the West. So
yeah, I've heard
all we got to do is do the research.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, look up Prester John. I'm going to show you the brother too while we're at it. While we're on the subject.
Man, you really have to unlearn this stuff.
Huh?
Really have to unlearn this stuff.
Eitai.
This is Prester John, family.
Wow.
Y'all see him?
What?
That's Prester John.
Wow. Really?
Like one of my uncles.
That's right. That is one of your uncles.
Wow.
So this map is talking about, well, we'll just go to this. But you all can do the research. Here's another picture of Prester John called El Prestawan.
Nobody talk about this.
You know, they hit it. Prester John, the greatest world myth you probably have never heard of. So all you got to do is Google it, family, and you'll find the ancient documents. This thing culminates. You know, the ancient world knew that this thing culminates in the West. So, Kalai, did you have anything to say?
No, I was just being facetious and saying that Washington D.C. sits in the valley.
That's correct. Malkiel has, yeah,
absolutely. Yes, it does.
And our forefathers built that thing.
Yes.
With all of the ancient symbolism.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Malkiel.
Okay.
That land is right down there, Maryland.
Yes.
Virginia.
Yes, Virginia, absolutely. So
right.
Mm-hmm. They call it the DMV.
And even George Clinton said, that they call it the White House, but that's a temporary condition. we gonna call it Chocolate City.
Right.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
So we have much to learn. We have much to learn, family, about the West, and we're beginning to do it now.
Yes.
So
like Eitai, we have much to unlearn too.
That you absolutely right, brother.
Yes.
Absolutely right. And again, this underworld is the word Amenti, and it means the West. It means the West. So there's so many things that put this thing over to the West. We'll at a later date we'll get into this Prester John so-called mythology, or the Prester John narrative. It's not a myth, it's a narrative. It's a myth, Nasi, because they hid it.
Yeah, right, right.
So, question, Akitai,
Yes.
when they say the halls of Amente, they're referring to the what?
When they say the halls of Amenti, we'll go over this, and I'll show you exactly what they mean.
Okay.
Well, it's been great. Again, I just don't see how, it don't appear to me that it should be hard for us to let go of what we have learned
Right.
as being authentic, because if you look back, what have it produced for us?
That's
Right.
exactly the way that you started it out.
Right, Nasi.
Right.
Why do we want to hold on to it?
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Now, see, we the hamster on the treadmill.
Right.
I said, we the hamster on the treadmill. We ain't going nowhere.
Right. Right.
This particular Bakuria, this particular passage is from the book of Thoth. And it starts out, homage to thee, O governor of those who are in Amenti. And we know that Amenti means the west or the underworld, who maketh mortals to be born again. Well, what did you start out talking about, Nasik, from Isaiah 26? That was the resurrection.
Yeah.
Who renewest thy youth. Well, we connected that to what? The serpent shedding its skin. Thy dwellest in thy season, O beautiful one. Thy son Horus or Heru hath avenged thee. And that vindication, family, is going to happen. They're talking about talking to the governor of Amenti, the west, the underworld, where this revenge is going to take place. He who by progress has grown from darkness, lifted himself up from the night into the light. Free is he made of the halls of Amenti, free of the flower of life. So the halls of Amenti, brother, is the transitional period. You see it down here at the bottom, right? And the soul is in the frequency range. So we're here on the right, and look how this is configured. We're in the material range, how we emanated into the what? Physical realms. So to move back, we have to go through this transitional period that what? Connects us through DNA to our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that how we flow, family?
Absolutely.
Isn't that how we flowing? And then we get to a point where we recognize the difference between the simulated reality and the organic reality. The halls of Amenti is the transitional period from the illusory nature to the the holistic organic reality. So again, Makuria, it emphasizes what we've been talking about: as above, so below. The halls of Amenti exist between the 3D world or the organic illusory world and what they call the soul world or the cosmic organic reality.
Okay.
Between the frequency domain and the space-time domain, between 3D and the higher dimension. All right? So they also call that the duat. When you see that word, and duat has the, it has the phonetic sounding of dual or dualistic.
Right.
A duet. That's where two people are singing.
Yeah.
It's like that in Hebrew too.
That's correct, brother. That's correct.
Yeah.
So we're gonna close with this, family. If there, and then we'll entertain questions after that. But we'll close this portion on, and we're just getting into it, on the Kachina prophecy. We'll go ahead and close this out real quick. We've given you all a lot today. So it says the Hopi people believe the star people and star knowledge will return at the end of a current cycle of time. We are experiencing that, family. We are the experience of the star people and this star knowledge as they have in past cycles. This is not new for a lot of us. Now, see, we've been through this in other lifetimes.
Yes. Yes.
At the time of the Blue Kachina, star people visit the heart of the earth to be protected during the world's destruction. And it's not really the world's destruction, it's the destruction of an age and a dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When the first world was destroyed, people returned to the surface to live as ants for the duration of the second world. It's hard for us to believe in existence as ants or any other thing, but we do whatever is necessary. The third world describes an advanced civilization with flying shields and wars between distant cities, eventually destroyed by great floods. Very similar to Babylonian mythology. And the Babylonian mythology is the closest mythology, and what the Bible, what the formulators of the Bible transcribe into what we know as the Bible. Hopi are the caretakers of the fourth world. Caretakers of the fourth world in exchange for the privilege of living on the earth. They believe the coming of the fifth world is near and will commence when members of the Fire Clan return. We bring in the fire, family. Tell me we not.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
The legend of the Blue Kachina also coincides with Mayan prophecy. The Planet X theory, that's Nibiru.
Right.
Everybody is familiar, suggesting an interconnection between Hopi beliefs and those of the ancient Mayans. Furthermore, the legend of Pahana seems to be in direct relation to the Aztec story of Quetzalcoatl. Now, all of these ancient legends, we mentioned Prester John and stuff like that. These are all interconnected.
Yes.
Once you do the research, you'll understand that these are all interconnected. Putting this thing squarely in the West. The Aztec story of Quetzalcoatl connecting the Hopi to several North American Indian cultures who recognized what? The horned serpent. Putting us right back where we started, to our demystifying the snake or the serpent. Additional prophetic mysteries tend to relate with many creation stories and religious belief systems of other ancient civilizations in both North and South America. According to the Hopi, 5 stone tablets of creation exist. 1 was kept by the Creator, 2 given to the Hopi themselves, and the remaining 2 given to brothers in history to be brought back together when the world reunites in peace, holding true to the Hopi way. So we're going to end it right.
Something about that number, too.
Huh?
It's something about that number 5. I don't know what it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is. You know, and we gonna really get into all of this symbolism, Bakuria. You're right. But we're gonna stop right here, and we'll pick up on the next time. All right.